There's the bridge. You cross the bridge. There's a beautiful set of steps that go up into the city. Tell you all a little story about why this town is so special to me. Okay kids, we're about 8-9 kilometers away from Portomarin. Now Portomarin is going to be very special to me because this book that I'm finishing up is very personal. I ended it in Portomarin. In my book, two old friends meet on this bridge at the end. One of them knows who the other is. The other has no idea that he's talking to an old friend. Actually, in the book, here is where they meet, here on the steps. And I picked this town at random when I wrote about it, looked up pictures online, and now I'm here. You can see those are old Roman remains. Actually, as the valley started to flood and became this river, they took a lot of buildings stone by stone and moved them up there, and they still stand today, like the original church. This is kind of a very special place. Now I'm here. First day into the Camino. All the pictures online show pilgrims crowding around here. I came late and I walked in the rain, so I get to enjoy this view alone. What a view it is. This was a thick mist 3 years ago. You've got to see the mist that's come over the valley here. Look at that stuff. Going down to the stairs. I'll show you from the top of the stairs. Look at that. Look at that mist. Wow. A thick mist has moved in from the channel. All right, we go that way. I'm on the steps. These are old Roman steps up into Portomarin, which is on the hillside behind me. My question is, do you think places become sacred because God imbues a sacredness into them? Or do they become sacred because we imbue a sense of sacredness into them? Or is it both? Are we divinely inspired to give that thing something sacred? For instance, on the Camino de Santiago, Santiago being St. James. St. James' relics or remains allegedly are in the church in Santiago. The story of St. James, he of course was the fourth apostle called by Jesus. There's a story that he came to Spain to preach, then he went back to Nazareth, I think. Anyway, he went back and Herod had him beheaded. Then his relics inevitably were moved by the apostles to Spain and placed here when the King Alfonso II, I think, found his relics. That's the story. It's mythos, and we say mythos not to mean it doesn't exist or it's not real, but everything that's a story that defines us as a culture is mythic in some way. Yeah, Tom Brady is now a mythic figure, so if I say Jesus is a mythic figure, that doesn't mean he didn't exist. It just means we have created a mythology or a mythos around him. Mythology, again, does not mean false or fake or made up. It means this is how we have imbued that story with certain power. So here's the deal. 3 years ago, I walked the Camino starting from Sarria. And just before I started that Camino, my cat Milo died. And this cat was one of the best creatures I know, better than a lot of people. It was heartbreaking, and I wanted to honor him. And I wrote this story where he, at the end, after he dies, he gets to come back as a person, and he decides to go to the Camino to meet me, to say goodbye, but in a human form. See if I can get through this without crying. So I wrote that story. As I was writing, I said, where am I going to have this meeting take place? I had not been on the Camino yet. Pulled out a map, boom, Portomarin, which is where I am now. And I saw these big, beautiful Roman steps, this bridge that comes across, and these big, beautiful Roman steps. I said, the Roman steps are a perfect place to have this scene happen. I wrote it. I have a Photoshop that's on my Facebook page of the back of Milo. I had a photo of Milo, and I have the back of him, so it looks like he's sitting on this top step, waiting for me to come across the bridge. Last night I came in, I took a photo, and I said to my wife, I said, guess where I am? She goes, you're with Milo. And I realized I have made this a sacred spot. This is a sacred spot for me. Nobody else feels that same sacredness that I do. And last night I went to bed. I got up in the middle of the night to call my class reunion, and then I went back to bed, and Milo came to me all night after that for the last 4 hours. Constant dreams. So, is he here, even though he's never been here? Or physically he was never here? Or is that me projecting my own mythology on this place? Either way, it was an emotional night of dreaming. There's a little bit more to the story. I made a lot of stupid mistakes that first day on the Camino in 2018. For starters, I caught the train from Madrid at 10 p.m. at night, and it didn't get into Sarria till just before 6 a.m. I didn't sleep on the train, so I started out on the Camino with probably no sleep for the past 24 hours. I pressed on to Portomarin when I probably should have stopped at Morgade or even sooner. And when I arrived in Portomarin, I realized that I didn't have all the gear I needed. Then I met my first Camino angel, Joe. Joe gave me earplugs, a flashlight, protein bars, all the things I should have had, and he gave me some good advice. It became clear that I didn't know what I was doing. Turns out Joe is from my home state and lives about 2 hours away, so we've remained friends ever since. So no, Milo didn't turn into a person and show up on the steps of Portomarin, but he did send someone to look after me. And I met somebody who lives in Fort Myers, Florida, very close to me. What are the odds? It's crazy.